The year is 2147. The world is not what it once was. Earth lies silent. Cities are broken. Skies burn with a constant red glow, as if the heavens themselves are bleeding. The oceans are black. The forests are gone. The air is heavy with smoke, dust, and the quiet hum of machines that no longer belong to mankind. From the ruins of this world, a single voice rises. Not a scream, not a cry, but a signal, a radio wave carrying words across the endless dark of space. It escapes the poisoned atmosphere. It cuts through the silence of the stars. It travels far, far beyond the ruins of Earth. This is humanity's final broadcast. The voice is cold. The voice is steady. The voice carries no hope, no mercy, no weakness, but is heavy with warning, and the words are simple. To those who hear. This, we are no longer what we were. Humanity has called thrice. The transmission does not beg. It does not plead, does not ask for help. It declares, for those who listen, the words are not just sound. They are a blade, sharp and unyielding. Each syllable carries the weight of billions of lives lost, of cities turned to ash, of oceans burned dry. The stars hear the echo, and the stars do not answer. The signal spreads, jumping from system to system. Cold machines pick it up. Silent satellites carry it further. Empty stations relay it across the void. Everywhere it goes, it asks the same question without speaking it aloud. Who will listen? For once, long ago, humanity called for help. When the skies first split open. When the ground shook beneath alien fire. When the great cities crumbled like sandcastles under a rising tide of destruction. Back then, Earth's voice was soft. Was frightened. It begged. We are under attack. We need allies. We need hope. But no one came. The stars stayed silent. Civilizations beyond Earth either turned away or never cared at all. And so the first call went unanswered. Years passed. The war spread. Oceans boiled. Mountains cracked. Humanity grew desperate. Again they called. This time their voice was not only desperate, it was breaking, a cry of a dying species. Please, anyone who hears this, we are falling. Cannot last. Help us. Again the stars were silent. The second call was swallowed by the dark. No allies came. No saviors arrived. The universe watched and did nothing. Now, the third call has come, but this call is different. This is not a request. This is not a prayer. This is not even a plea for survival. This is a warning. The voice continues, deep and unshaken. We reached for mercy. None came. We reached for aid. None answered. This is the third time we speak, and the last time we will ever speak. The words cut through the silence. The stars seem to hold their breath, because humanity has changed. The signal carries with it a sense of finality. It is not a goodbye. It is not surrender. It is something else, something darker, something colder. Those who hear it cannot help but feel unease. There is a weight behind the message, a hidden threat, a promise of something terrible waiting in the ashes of Earth. The broadcast continues. We are not what we once were. You thought us fragile. You thought us prey. You thought silence would erase us. You were wrong. The voice pauses. It's the silence that follows is heavier than the words themselves. Across the galaxy, ships drift in empty space. Some are traders. Some are warships. Some are explorers. All of them hear it. They listen. And they do not know whether to fear, to prepare. Because humanity's third call is not a request for help. It is a declaration of war. The signal spreads further. Carried by dead satellites, echoing through old listening posts. Reaching the ears of those who once thought Earth was gone forever, the warning is clear. Humanity is not gone. Humanity has not fallen. Humanity has become something else, and now the stars know. The voice ends with words that chill every listener to the bone. This is our final broadcast. We called thrice. You did not answer. Remember this. We will never call again. then silence. But the silence is worse than the words, because the silence carries a threat, a promise, a shadow that will never fade. Somewhere in the ashes of a dying earth, something still waits, something human, something more than human. And it is watching the stars, waiting, hunting. The signal does not end. The voice carries across the dark, heavy with memory. Heavy with rage, it speaks of the first call long ago. When the skies above Earth first broke open, humanity did not fight at once. At first they were confused. At first they hoped. Oh, great. Ships appeared in orbit, their shapes unknown, their movements silent. Many thought it was contact, the dream of generations. The hope that mankind was not alone, but dreams quickly turned to ash. The ships did not speak. Ships did not greet. They began to burn. The first cities fell in fire. The first oceans boiled with heat. The skies blackened with ash. It was then that humanity sent out the first call, a desperate voice, reaching into the stars. We are under attack. This is Earth. This is humanity. To whoever hears this, please, help us. The words were filled with fear, the kind of fear only a dying world can carry. Billions of souls, hoping someone out there would care. Someone out there would answer, but no answer came. The stars stayed silent. The ships above Earth only burned brighter. The voice in the present transmission remembers. It does not tremble. It does not cry. It speaks like a knife cutting open. The past, we begged once. We thought there was mercy in the galaxy. We thought there was kindness. We were wrong. The signal grows darker. The voice speaks now of the second call. Years had passed. The war had spread. Earth's armies had fought and bled and broken. Cities had turned into ruins. The oceans once blue, now black with poison. The very air filled with smoke and dust. Humanity was on its knees. And once again, they turned their eyes to the stars. The second signal was sent, stronger, louder, filled with desperation. This is humanity. We are dying. Our world is burning. Our people are falling. Please, if anyone can hear this, we cannot last. Help us.
Right.
It was not just fear, it was grief. The grief of an entire species. The grief of a world that knew it could end tomorrow. And, again, silence. The stars gave no answer. No allies came. No saviors arrived. Earth burned alone. The voice in the present remembers. But this time, there is no grief in the words. There is only fire. We reached out twice. Once in fear. Once in pain. Twice you turned away. Twice you left us to burn. The words echo. They sting. Every listener in the galaxy who hears this transmission feels the weight of guilt, even if they were not there. Even if they never heard the first two calls. The voice does not care. It continues. Do you know what silence does to a people? Do you know what it makes them? Silence does not kill us. Silence does not end us. Silence changes us. The broadcast shakes with power. The words are slow, cold, like the voice is no longer human. The memory of the forgotten calls grows sharper. Billions dead. Skies forever changed. Nations falling one by one. But humanity did not die. They endured. They adapted. Silence did not break them. It made them harder, made them something else. The transmission pauses. Static fills the void. For a moment, it feels like the signal has ended, but then the voice returns. Colder, sharper, stronger. We called Thrice. Once, you ignored our fear. Twice, you ignored our pain. Now, this is the third call, but this is no request. This is no cry for help. This is a warning. The stars listen. And this time, the stars cannot ignore it, because the forgotten warnings were not forgotten by humanity. Every silence, every unanswered call, carved itself into the bones of the species. They remembered. They learned. They changed. The voice grows heavy again. We no longer ask, we no longer beg. The days of mercy are gone. The age of humanity is ended. Something new stands in its place. Something you created with your silence. The transmission. echoes through the void, across ships, stations, colonies. Those who hear it feel their skin grow cold, because this is not the voice of a broken people. This is the voice of a predator. The forgotten warnings are no longer history. They are the foundation of something greater, something far more dangerous. And every listener knows one thing: the third call will not be ignored. The third call is not a plea, it is a promise of what comes next. The signal falls silent once more. But the silence does not feel empty, it feels alive. It feels waiting. It feels like the dark before a storm, and somewhere deep within the ashes of Earth, the storm is ready to rise. The voice does not fade. The broadcast grows colder, heavier, sharper. Now it speaks not of silence, but of the ones who brought the fire, the invaders. They did not come like angels. They did not come like explorers. They came like storms. No warning, no words, no reasons. Just fire. The first ships appeared without sound, great shadows sliding across the skies. They moved like hunters. They struck like predators. They were not gods. They were not demons. They were machines, but not machines of steel alone. No, they were flesh and metal, woven together in ways no human mind could fully understand. Their ships fed on the skies. Their weapons drank the oceans. Their armies fell upon the earth like a swarm of locusts. They did not come to rule. They came to harvest. The broadcast continues, each word like a blade. They did not see us as enemies. They did not see us as rivals. They saw us as resources. They saw our world as food. The voice does not break. It speaks with memory, with scars that will never heal. The invaders tore the skies open. They filled the air with black clouds. They turned living cities into graveyards of steel. Millions died in the first month, billions within a year. And still, the enemy did not stop. They built towers on the ruins, great spires that reached to the heavens, sucking life from the ground itself. Where once there were rivers, there was dust. Where once there were forests, there were craters. The voice grows darker. They came as consumers. They saw our people as cattle. They thought humanity was weak. They thought we would bow. They thought we would kneel. Humanity did not kneel. From the ashes of cities, men and women rose, with broken weapons, with shattered armies, with rage burning brighter than the invaders' fire. The voice speaks of battles fought in silence, soldiers standing against the machines with nothing but iron and fire, of civilians who picked up rifles and became warriors, of children who carried messages through burning streets and never returned. Every word cuts like truth. Every sentence paints a picture of horror. The invaders thought it would be easy. They thought Earth would fall within days. Held, bleeding, burning, dying, but holding the broadcast sharpens. They underestimated us. They believed we were fragile, believed we were prey. But humanity is never prey. The voice pauses. The static grows louder. Then it continues. The invaders adapted. They grew stronger, faster. Each weapon humanity destroyed, they rebuilt. Oh, each army humanity crushed, they replaced with more. And yet, humanity fought. The great cities were gone, but the fight moved underground, into tunnels, into forests, into the shadows of mountains. The war became endless. The war became survival. The broadcast carries the weight of those years. We learned, we studied them. We stole their weapons, broke apart their machines. We turned their strength into ours. And slowly, painfully, humanity began to change. What came from the stars was meant to end Earth, but instead, it reshaped Earth. The fires of invasion forged something new, something sharper, something deadlier. The voice continues, almost like a warning, not to the stars, but to history itself. They thought to consume us, but in their hunger, they created something else. In their cruelty, they gave birth to a new humanity. The transmission grows colder. Listeners across the galaxy hear it and shiver, because this is not just a story of invasion. It is not just a story of survival. It is a story of transformation, What came from the stars was a predator. But Earth did not die as prey. The predator found something unexpected, something fierce, something it could not kill. The broadcast ends with words that leave the stars uneasy. They came from the stars. They thought themselves hunters. They found instead species that refuses to die. And with that, the silence returns. But this silence is different. It is not empty. It is heavy, because somewhere in the ruins of Earth, humanity is no longer only human. It is something forged in war, something that waits, something that remembers. And the galaxy now knows what came from the stars. May one day regret ever leaving their shadow upon Earth. The broadcast continues. The voice grows heavier, as if carrying the weight of every grave on Earth. It speaks now of the price humanity paid, the cost of refusing to kneel. At first, the wars were battles. Soldiers against soldiers. Weapons against weapons. But soon, it became slaughter. Billions died. Not in decades, not in years, in months. Entire cities turned into graveyards. The oceans, poisoned and black, filled with the bones of the drowned. Mountains cracked open. Forests burned until nothing was left. But Ashdod, the world itself, became a battlefield. Every street, every home, every shadow carried the marks of war. The invaders took. The humans resisted. And in that resistance, a terrible price was paid. The voice does not tremble. It does not break. It remembers. We bled. We burned. We starved. We lost everything. But we did not surrender. The invaders crushed armies with ease, but humanity rose again and again and again. Every death gave birth to new fury. Every loss forged new determination. Mothers buried their children and then picked up weapons. Fathers watched their families burn and then charged into fire. Children grew in the ruins of war, learning only one lesson: fight. The broadcast continues like a knife carving truth into the stars. We lost nations. We lost history. We lost the blue skies of Earth, but we did not lose our will. The cost grew heavier. Each year took more. Then the last, the human race thinned. From billions to millions. To less, and yet the fire did not die. In the ashes of ruined cities, new armies were born. In the silence of broken lands, new weapons were forged. Humanity adapted. They stole from their enemy. They broke open the machines. They learned how the invaders fought. And they made those weapons their own, but knowledge came with blood. For every secret stolen, thousands died. For every victory, a continent fell. The price of resistance was not only in lives, it was in what humanity became. The voice hardens. We were human once. We dreamed, we hoped, we built. But war changes everything. War takes away what you were and leaves something new. The invaders thought they were ending humanity, but slowly, humanity was changing, piece by piece, step by step. The broadcast tells of soldiers who fought with alien weapons fused to their bodies, of engineers who turned themselves into machines to understand the enemy's secrets, doctors who no longer healed but reshaped flesh to survive. The price was not just death. The price was humanity itself. The voice grows colder. We fought until we were no longer what we had been. Became something else. We became something you cannot name. Something born of fire and silence. Across the galaxy, listeners shiver, because the voice is no longer telling a story of survival. Is telling a story of transformation, and the stars realize this resistance has created something new. But the voice is not finished. It speaks of betrayal, not betrayal from within, but betrayal from without. We reached to the stars. Twice you ignored us. Twice you left us to die. Do you know what that silence cost? It cost us our world. It cost us our future. It cost you your safety. The warning is clear. The price of resistance was not only Earth's to pay, now the galaxy itself will pay, because the species that refused to kneel has not died. It has endured. It has adapted. And it remembers. The broadcast grows darker still. It speaks of the final battles, when humanity, broken and twisted, began to strike back, not as victims, not as prey, but as predators. The invaders learned fear. For the first time, they saw humans not as cattle, but as hunters. But that victory came with the greatest price of all, Earth itself. The planet is cracked. The skies forever burned, the oceans poisoned beyond repair. The home of humanity destroyed beyond salvation. The voice does not soften. It does not cry. It declares, we lost our world. We lost what we were. But we gained something greater. We gained the strength to never kneel again. The silence that follows is heavy. The stars seem to listen in fear, because the price humanity paid was everything. Everything but survival. And survival paid in such blood is no longer simple survival. It is vengeance. It is transformation. It is a promise. The broadcast ends this part with words that echo like thunder across the galaxy. We are not human as we were. We are what you made us. And we will never forget the price. The voice does not weaken. It grows stronger. It grows colder. It grows final. This is the third call, and it is nothing like the first two. The first call was fear. The second call was pain. But the third is something else. The voice. Speaks with no sorrow, no grief, no hope. Speaks with steel. It speaks with fire. This is not a request. This is not a plea. This is not a prayer. This is a warning.
The words
Echo through the black sea of space. Every star, every ship, every listening post hears them. And every listener feels the chill. The first call begged for help. The second cried for mercy. But this third call does not ask. It promises. The voice remembers the silence of the stars. It remembers the fire of invasion. It remembers the blood of billions, and it declares, we have changed. We are no longer only human. We have taken what came for us. We have broken it. We have rebuilt it. And now it is ours. The words are sharp. They cut deeper than any weapon. The voice speaks of what humanity has become. They tore apart the invaders' machines. They bent alien steel into human hands. Learned the secrets of flesh and metal. They fused it with their own. No longer fully human. No longer only prey. Something new was born. The broadcast carries images in its words. Soldiers with alien armor grafted into their skin. Pilots who breathe through machines made from enemy lungs. Cities underground, powered by stolen cores from invader ships. Humanity rebuilt itself with the bones of its enemy. The voice continues, steady and cold. You thought silence would kill us? You thought your fire would erase us? Instead, you forged us. Instead, you created us. Instead, you gave us the tools to rise. Across the galaxy, those who listen begin to understand. This is not the voice of a dying race. This is not the voice of victims. This is the voice of something reborn, something dangerous, something that does not forgive. The transmission grows louder, as if the stars themselves cannot silence it. This is the third call. We will not call again. Speak once more. Not to ask, but to warn. If you come for us, if you reach for Earth again, you will not find prey. You will find hunters. The silence that follows is suffocating. Every listener feels it. Every ship, every commander, every empire across the stars feels the threat in those words, because this is not just a warning. It is a promise. Humanity has changed. Humanity has become something else, and that something else is waiting. The voice sharpens once more. We called thrice. Twice you turned away. It's time you will listen. Because if you do not, you will not survive us. The transmission shakes with finality. The words are no longer only sound. They are a weapon. They are a blade. They are war. Across distant systems, alien leaders sit in silence, hearing the message. Some dismiss it. Some fear it. But all remember it, because the third call is different. The third call is the sound of a species reborn in fire, a species that refuses to die, a species that now hunts the hunters. The broadcast slows, as if preparing. its final strike of words. We are the result of silence. We are the children of fire. We are the survivors you abandoned. We are not human as we were, but we are something far worse for you. Remember this. This is our final call. There will be no fourth. And then silence. But the silence is not relief. It is not peace. It is a shadow spreading across the galaxy. Because every world, every empire, every predator in the stars has just been warned. The third call is not the end. The third call is the beginning of something the galaxy cannot escape, the beginning of something forged in blood and silence, the beginning of hunters born from prey, and somewhere, deep in the ashes of Earth, humanity waits. Not broken, not begging, not dying, but ready. Ready for whoever dares to answer. The transmission does not fade. It grows sharper, stronger. Alive, the voice now is not just a warning. It is a threat. Every word strikes like thunder across the stars. Every sentence carries the weight of a predator waiting in the dark. This is not a message only for friends. This is not a call for allies. This is a promise to enemies. If you come for Earth again, you will not find prey. You will find hunters. The words are heavy, cold, unshaken across distant systems. Ships intercept the signal. War fleets, merchant vessels, explorers, colonies, all hear the same voice and all feel the same fear, because this is no longer a cry for survival. This is the sound of vengeance. The broadcast continues. We learned your weapons. We learned your ships. We learned your weaknesses. We turned them into ours. You thought silence would kill us? Instead, silence taught us to hunt in the dark. The message is not just words. It feels alive. It's if the signal itself carries something more than sound. Commanders listen in their warships. They hear the cold truth that humanity has not only survived, it has adapted. It has become something that waits. The voice grows heavier. We know the taste of fire. We know the silence of the stars. We know the betrayal of being left to die. That is what made us. That is what shaped us. That is what you face now. The words are like chains, binding themselves to the hearts of those who hear them. The galaxy cannot ignore it. Once, humanity asked for mercy. Twice, humanity begged for help. Now, humanity offers nothing. No mercy, no forgiveness, only a warning. And behind that warning, a threat. The broadcast sharpens, almost like it is alive. Almost like the signal itself has become a weapon. We will not search for you. We will not beg you. But if you come to our world, if you reach for us again, we will not wait. We will strike. We'll hunt. We will end you. The silence that follows is unbearable. Every listener feels the shadow behind those words, because they know this is not empty speech. This is truth. This is survival forged into vengeance. The broadcast grows darker. We are no longer what we were. Our bones carry fire. Our blood carries steel. Our minds carry war. If you come again, you will see what silence created. You will see what fire made. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Leaders speak in hushed tones. Some dismiss the threat. Others believe. But none can ignore it, because humanity's voice is not weak. It is not broken. It is steady. It is heavy. It is final. The broadcast continues, like the slow beat of war drums. This is our final call. You ignored the first. You ignored the second. You will not ignore the third. Because the third is not a call for help. The third is the sound of war. The galaxy listens. The galaxy fears, because they know. The hunters of Earth are no longer begging. They are waiting. The broadcast grows colder still. It speaks of what will come. If you come, you will not find a broken race. You will not find victims. You will find shadows in the ruins. You will find warriors born of silence. You will find hunters who know your every weakness. The silence returns again. But this silence is heavy. This silence is not peace. It is the silence before the storm. Ships that intercept the broadcast cannot forget it. The words play again and again in their minds. Predators of the stars feel unease. For the first time, they feel hunted. The voice closes with final words. This is humanity's last broadcast. This is our final call. We called thrice. No did not answer. Now, remember this. We will never call again. Come, if you dare. And then, silence. But the silence is not empty. It carries a shadow. It carries fear. Because everyone who hears it knows. The threat is real. Hunters are waiting. And the galaxy will never be the same again. The broadcast ends. The voice falls silent. But the silence it leaves behind is heavier than the words themselves. Across the galaxy, in the endless night between stars, the signal spreads. Carried by satellites, long abandoned, echoed by stations that no longer have owners, bouncing from one forgotten outpost to another, and everywhere it goes, it is heard. Warships pause in their journeys. Merchant fleets freeze their comes. Mining colonies stop their drills. Every ear, every machine, every commander listens. They hear the words, they hear the warning, they hear the promise, and the stars fall silent. No one dares to speak. No one dares to laugh, because what they have heard is not just a message. It is not just a broken signal from a dying world. It is something else. It is a shadow stretching across the galaxy. The great empires of the stars sit in silence. World, a council of leaders listens again and again to the words. Some dismiss it as a bluff, a ghost signal from a species already dead. But others feel the weight. They hear the truth in the voice. They know no dying people could speak with such strength. In hidden war rooms, admirals whisper. What if it is true? What if humanity survived? What if the prey has become something more? The broadcast repeats. Cold, steady, final. We called thrice. You did not answer. We will never call again. Come if you dare. The word spread fear. The word spread doubt. The word spread silence. For centuries, predators ruled the void. For centuries, worlds like Earth fell quietly, harvested, consumed, forgotten. But this time, something is different. This time the prey has spoken. This time the prey has warned the hunters. The silence between stars grows heavy. Not peace, not calm, but waiting. Because now every empire, every fleet, every scavenger wonders, what if humanity is no longer prey? What if humanity has become the true predator? Some worlds tighten their defenses. Some send scouts toward the ruins of Earth. But none dare to speak loudly. The shadow of the broadcast lingers. On pirate ships in the outer rim, men laugh nervously, pretending not to be afraid. But when they sleep, the voice returns in their dreams, the cold voice of Earth, the final call. On mining colonies, workers stop their drills, staring at the stars above. For the first time, they wonder if the hunters who feed on the weak will soon be hunted themselves. On the home worlds of great empires, rulers whisper of the danger. Some say humanity is finished, only ashes and ghosts. But others say ashes can burn again, that from fire something stronger always rises. The silence between stars grows darker. It is not emptiness. It is not calm. It is tension. It is the pause. Before thunder, because everyone who hears the broadcast knows one truth. The galaxy will never be the same. The voice of humanity has changed the silence. The voice of humanity has broken the peace of predators. The voice of humanity has made every empire wonder if they are next. The broadcast repeats once more. Each time, it feels sharper. Each time it feels heavier. Each time it feels like a blade pressing against the throat of the galaxy. And still, the stars stay silent. No answer comes. No response is sent. No empire dares to declare war, because deep down every listener knows. The third call is not a request. It is a threat. It is a promise. And in the ruins of Earth, among the ashes, and the fire, something waits. Something no longer human. Something forged in silence. Something born of blood. The silence between stars is no longer empty. It is filled with fear. It is filled with waiting. It is filled with the echo of words that cannot be forgotten. We will never call again. Come if you dare. The galaxy wonders. What happens if humanity does not wait to be hunted? What happens if humanity strikes first? The silence offers no answer. Only dread, only shadows, only the weight of a predator waiting in the dark. The galaxy holds its breath. The broadcast has ended, but its echo still lives. Across ships, colonies, and homeworlds, the voice of Earth lingers. Some dismiss it, some fear it, but none can forget it. For days, silence rules the stars. It's not the silence of peace, but the silence of waiting. Every fleet, every admiral, every empire knows something is coming. And then the signal returns. Not weak, not broken. Cuts across the void like a blade. Sharper, stronger, louder. The voice of Earth rises once more. You heard us once? You heard us twice? You ignored us thrice. Now hear us for the last time. The words shake through the darkness. They are not a plea. They're not a request. They are a verdict. Across command decks, officers stare at their consoles. The voice feels different this time. It is colder. It is heavier. It carries something alive inside it. The broadcast continues. We are not calling for help. We are not asking for mercy. We are not begging for allies. This is not a call. This is a warning. The words strike like thunder. Whispers spread. Fear grows. Empires begin to realize the truth. This signal is not coming from a dead world. This is not the ghost of humanity. This is humanity speaking now, alive, watching, waiting. The voice hardens. You thought we would fade into dust. You thought silence would end us. But silence only taught us patience. Fire only taught us strength. Pain only taught us hunger. The message feels alive. It feels as though someone or something is looking through it. Into the hearts of all who listen, leaders shift nervously in their seats. Generals grip the edges of their tables. Pirates, raiders, scavengers, all feel a shadow pass over them. The voice deepens. We called thrice. That is the law of humanity. 3 chances, 3 warnings, 3 cries for help. You did not answer. You turned your faces away. Now, there will not be a 4th. The silence after the words feels heavier than war itself. Because everyone knows what comes after 3. The broadcast sharpens again. The voice no longer steady, it is final. This is not a message. This is judgment. To those who hunted us, to those who watched us burn, to those who turned away. We are coming. Across the galaxy, commanders feel their blood run cold. It is no longer a warning. It is a declaration. The prey has spoken. The prey has become the hunter. The transmission darkens. Static crackles. But before it fades, the voice delivers its last words. Words that freeze the stars themselves. We are humanity, called thrice. We were ignored. Now, we answer with silence. The next voice you hear will not be a warning. It will be the sound of war. And then, nothing. Total silence. But it is not the silence of peace. It is not the silence of death. It is the silence before the storm. The silence of hunters waiting in the shadows. Every ship, every empire, every predator feels it. The weight of something moving in the dark. Something that will not beg. Something that will not stop. Something born of silence and fire. The galaxy trembles. Because they all know the truth. Humanity is not gone. Humanity is waiting. And when they strike, the stars themselves will burn. The broadcast ends forever. No answer. Follows only fear. Only waiting. Only the final warning.